Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Also, a shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters, the Akim and the Akwath, out there diligently laboring in this truth. So, back again with another lesson in the spirit of prophecy. All right, dealing with the French President Emmanuel Macron. And he's calling on Europe to reduce reliance on the U.S., which is known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, for security. And we keep seeing this back and forth between these, between the EU and America and its allies, because really there's an internal strife going on right now that really has not been spoken on to the extent that it's major news, but it is ongoing and existent. See, because ever since America blew up the Nord Stream 1 and the Nord Stream 2 pipelines, which the EU depends on for their source of natural gas and oil, they've been looking at America with the side eye, because now they're starting to question, well, which side is America on? And really what they're realizing now is that America, Babylon the Great, is looking out for its own interest. So really, even going back earlier to this year, I remember doing a show in which France, one of the president-elects that was running for office in France to take the place of Emmanuel Macron, he was saying that if he got into office, that he was going to take France out of the EU, that France was going to leave the European Union just as Great Britain did. So you're seeing France, Germany, and very soon you're going to see other EU nations come away, separate from America, because they see what's really going on. They understand that, or they're going to understand, according to the Most High's will, in due time, that it's better for them to align themselves with Russia than to go against Russia. All right, that's what they're going to realize, man, because they're going to realize that America is playing everybody like a pawn, including the EU nations. Really, America's just using them as a buffer between them and Russia. So America understands that politically they have to keep these EU nations under their good graces, lest they turn against them and go with Russia and their allies. So really, the EU is just like a buffer state between them and Russia. Because really, when you look at it, America ain't doing nothing for the EU. They pretty much just out there. They, they're the ones that's citizens are dealing with the high inflation. They can't heat their homes in the winter. Food is getting scarce. They're over there rationing food, man. And then they're going to be the first ones to take the brunt of World War III once it pops off. So the EU is going to learn from their mistakes and say, well, damn, look at what happened with World War I, World War II. You think we about to side with America again in World War III? Hell no, we going to go with Russia. You see? Because they're going to understand that, going against Russia in this time is like mutually assured destruction, because we're right here. We're right here. Like, it's not going to take a long time for a nuke to, deploy from Russia and hit France or hit Germany or hit England, because they're right there in the vicinity. America is across the water. So, at least you got some time. Although with the technology that the Russians have now, it still don't matter. But either way, and we're going to get that in Revelation, the 17th chapter, man. But this is all a part of the beast hating the whore. So getting into it, it says, French president says he doesn't see his recommendation as alternative to NATO. Aboard the French presidential plane, French President Emmanuel Macron said Europe needs to take a more assertive role within the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO, reducing its reliance on the U.S. and developing its own defense capabilities to secure peace in a region rocked by the war in Ukraine. Speaking to 3 reporters on his return to Paris from a summit in Amman, Jordan, Mr. Macron stressed that he doesn't see his push to develop European defense as an alternative to NATO. A stronger Europe, Mr. Macron said, will allow the continent to become more autonomous within the alliance, acting inside NATO with NATO, but also not depending on NATO. So what is he saying? He's saying that he wants to, well, really what he's saying is very plain. You know, that they want to strengthen the European nation, the European Union, to the point where they don't need America. See, because the EU is backed by America, you know. But look at what America is doing with Ukraine. Ukraine isn't even in NATO. They're not even in the EU, but yet America is funding this war between Ukraine and Russia. But the EU nations aren't getting the same benefits from being aligned with America. So what's the point? That's why Emmanuel Macron, he's saying, listen, we need to become autonomous. We don't need to be depending on and taking orders from America, because clearly America is with us on paper, but in action, they're not with us. Like, they're playing a completely different game. So America is very two-faced, man, and these nations are seeing that. That's why he said inside NATO, with NATO, but also not depending on NATO. Now, what is he saying when he says not depending on NATO? He's talking about not depending on America. That's really what he's saying, but they're not going to come out and just say it straight because, of course, you know, America, Babylon the Great, is a part of NATO. So they can't just, cut ties like that. But reading between the lines, you can see what he's saying. Yeah, so that's it for the article, very short article, straight to the point. But yeah, man, these tensions are rising between these nations. Things are getting worse. Things will get a lot worse before they get better. That's just the way that the Lord set it up, And in France, like I said, going back to beginning of this year when this war popped off, even before the war popped off, France was talking about whatever candidate gets in next, that they're going to seek to leave the EU, to leave NATO. And really what they were talking about is joining Russia. That's what they wanted to do. But now the war has popped off. The Nord Stream 1 and 2 have been destroyed. All right, Russia is posturing to go in and fully take over Ukraine now, to absorb Ukraine back into the Russian territory. Which, if that indeed happens, then think about it. That whole Eastern European wall that borders Germany, that borders Greece and Turkey, man, all that is going to belong to Russia. So you're basically going to have the whole eastern half of Europe against the West. And hey, man, Russia, China, North Korea, India, Turkey. Listen, man, the EU, they're going to realize that they're going to be outgunned and outpowered. Okay, because America's not going to be there for them when that happens. All right, so let's bring this out. Isaiah 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight, every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So the Lord said that he would set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And who are the modern day Egyptians? Well, they would be the Edomites, which are the heads, the rulers of these European nations and of NATO. All right, this is run by the Edomites. So the Lord said he's going to set Egyptian against Egyptian. Now, what is that? Civil war, strife. They're not going to agree. They're going to seek to separate, whether it be by mutually agreed means or possible war. All right, or the EU just says, man, to hell with it, and let's just do our own thing, which is basically what Macron is saying in that article. Right? Everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So this is the fall. This is the fall of the Edomite power structure. And this is going to be a very drastic fall, because in the coming months, in early 2023, you're going to see things develop to a point where it's going to be obvious that at some point in a very short time that the EU and NATO, they're going to turn against America. That's what prophecy says. So that's what's going to happen. But you're just seeing these things build up right now to the point of the inevitable. We bring this out, Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, which is NATO and the EU, these shall hate the whore, which is America, Babylon the Great, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So the scriptures tell you what's going to happen, that the beast, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right, that these shall hate the whore. Now, why are they going to hate the whore? The whore took out Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, which is a vital power pipeline to all the EU nations. They're basically deceiving Europe, using the EU as a buffer state. You know what I'm saying? Draining them of their monetary funds, of their resources, of their military, just so they can continue on this unjust and pointless war with Russia. So that's why they're hating. They're starting to turn an evil eye against America, which pretty much everybody is, because they realize that America is the problem. The Americans are the problem. See, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, how is that going to happen? When these nuclear missiles get shot off, guess what? They coming straight to America, man. All right, that's why America is known in the scriptures as the land of unwalled villages, because really this place has no defense against missiles, much less in invasion force. Okay, America has never been invaded outside of a few times. The Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, but that really wasn't a massive invasion. Like, that was just on one front. See, but if Russia chooses to invade America, it's going to be from the east, from the west, from the south. All right, so if that happens, it's going to be an all-out attack. All right, it's going to be an all-out frontal war. You see? But mainly the fire is going to come by way of those nuclear missiles that are going to be shot off over to this part of the world. All right, America's future destiny is to be destroyed with thermonuclear missiles that are going to burn this place. Burn this place up with fire. For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. So all what's happening is the will of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. It's the Most High's will that America be destroyed. It's the Most High's will that either the EU and NATO turn against America, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. So it's self-explanatory, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what these nations are posturing. Okay, war is on the horizon. Well, really, some are already arguing that World War III has already begun, and really, if you ask me, it already has. All right, it already has begun, but it just hasn't. It just needs to get to the point to where that there is no going back. That the war is on, and it ain't no going back. That's the point that we need to get to. You know what I'm saying? But that's coming real, real soon. Just wait until 2023. You're gonna see it. So I just want to touch on that real quick. Hopefully this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Shalom.